bringing them law. Is that right? He's teaching them how to eat and what to eat. Is that right? He's teaching them what not to eat. He's bringing them the law of God in the book of Deuteronomy. Is that right? He's giving them the knowledge of the beginning of time in Genesis. Not of God's time, but the time of the making of another people. Genesis, all that's Moses' book. Is that right? And he's giving them numbers of armies of God. Is that? Do y'all read the Bible? Because y'all got a funny look on your face. Okay, so that's what Moses is doing. And if you notice, when you read the New Testament, what knowledge is Jesus basing his wisdom off of? God's knowledge? He's dealing with Moses' knowledge. Jesus is constantly referring to the history of what Moses taught to the people. Because how else would he be able to identify with the people? They've been following Moses' way all the time before he came. We ain't picked that up, right? Reading comprehension 101, the Bible. You're listening too much to other preachers and not reading for yourself and trying to figure out what's... Okay, you're in the right place at the right time, all right? We're not going to hold you much longer, but I just want to make sure that before you walk out of here, you have some understanding of what we're saying about the significance of this final call coming from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So in the book of the Quran, in that Surah 28, in section 4, it says this about the history of Moses. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent and Merciful. Then when Moses had completed the term and was traveling with his family, he perceived a fire on the side of the mountain. He said to his family, "Wait, I see a fire. Maybe I will bring to you from it some news or a brand of fire so that you may warm yourselves." And when he came to it, he was called from the right side of the valley in the blessed spot of the bush. "O Moses," God speaking, "surely I am Allah, the Lord of the worlds, and cast down thy rod." So when he saw it in motion as if it were a serpent, he turned away, retreating, and looked not back. See, he got the hell up out of there. He saw that rod turn into a snake. He got up out. That had to be a black man. That had to be a black man. Because when you watch them nature channels, you see all these white people, "Oh, look what we have here. A snake." The black man is not doing that. Is that right? A little levity has to be with this, but I just want to make it clear. So, God said, "O Moses, come forward and fear not. Surely thou art those who are secure. Insert thy hand into thy bosom, it will come forth white without evil, and remain calm in fear. These two are two arguments from thy Lord to Pharaoh and his chiefs. Surely they are a transgressing people." So God is showing Moses his power to make him secure and knowing, yo, I got you. And I got a lot of power. So you ain't got to worry about being unsafe. Once you leave from me, you know you done seen some power bigger than anything you've dealt with, right? He says, here's Moses saying, "My Lord, I killed one of them, so I fear lest they slay me." So Moses had a body. I know. Did I say something wrong, brothers? I don't want you to raise your hand about how many of us got bodies under our belt. Moses had a body under his belt, and God still called him. For all of us that want to judge one another for our past, God reaches down into the bowels of the depth of hell to pull people up out of hell to show the devil that I am God, that I can reform devil, that I can make what was wrong as hell look right, because once I touch him, once I touch her. Remember the woman that was of ill repute, that was known as a prostitute, when they brought her to Jesus? Jesus said, "He who's without sin, cast the first stone." And nobody wanted to cast a stone at the woman. And he put his head down, give him time. Look, I ain't even gonna cast a stone. I'm gonna be over here playing with my marbles. I ain't even. And then when he looked up, Ain't nobody was casting stones, and the woman was standing there, and he said, you know, where are your accusers? He said, go and sin no more. See, all that we've done in ignorance, without a proper relationship with God, ain't nothing you did that can't be forgiven. But once you hear the truth and accept it, and accept the God of the truth, now your slate's been wiped clean, but go and sin no more. See, I mean, who don't want a pardon from God? I mean, you got brothers on death row right now waiting for a pardon from the governor, a pardon from the president. Who don't want a pardon from God, especially at the time when evil is about to be removed and wiped out? And see, a lot of us don't know the time. So we don't know what must be done. This ain't the time to keep on doing all that funky stuff. If you notice the funky stuff you're doing, the scheming and conniving you're doing, is coming back on you quicker than it used to. It's coming back quicker. It's hitting you, your family. It's hitting your children. It's hitting you in your pocket. It's hitting your bills. And you wondering why you going through all this? Stop lying. Stop scheming. Stop trying to cut so many corners. Is there something wrong with just doing right? Does everybody have to get a hookup? Everybody? Damn. On everything? We just become the hookup society? You know, no, our minds have to think better. That every time there's something good on the table, yo, so how did you get it? What do you mean how I got it? I just told you the steps I took. Come on, man. I know it's a hookup somewhere. Now, not everyone thinks like that. Don't get me wrong. But there's a large segment of society that thinks that there's an easier way to everything, because the devil always makes evil fair seeming. They used to have butter, now they got margarine. And you don't see no evil in that. It's like, it's margarine. It's an easier way to use butter. That's not butter. It's parquet. No, it's not butter. You want to bake a cake? You want to bake some food? Now they got this stuff where you can just throw it in the microwave, it's in a bag, and just give it a few seconds. That's radioactive material. It's nuclear warfare in your kitchen. A brother told me, he said, man, I got a microwave oven in my kitchen, but I don't want to use it. It came with the apartment. I said, throw it out. He said, but the people who rented me the apartment, that's how they got their apartment. I said, well, put Skull and Bones on the cover of it and say danger. Or put one of those police do not cross signs over the front of it so y'all know we don't use this doggone thing. Now, I know I'm stepping on some toes about the microwave. But brothers and sisters, that's radiation. That is radiation. And the only reason why you're using it is because it's a quicker way to warm stuff. See, hook up. But it's death. Slow death. Yeah, if I'm bothered, stop using the doggone microwave. I'm making this face because I'm for using it. Leave it alone. It's radiation. Don't use that thing no more. I'm like, look, nah. I ain't that doggone lazy. I can put it in the oven, wrap it in some aluminum foil or something. You know how we used to do. The conventional way. I'm just trying to make the point clear. I think I did enough with that. So Moses is saying, I killed one of them, so I fear lest they slay me. So in other words, I'm going to go to them and I got a body on my belt. I've been running from them for the past, because Moses had been on the run from them for about 8 years. So when you read in the beginning when it says when his term had finished, his term is not only dealing with the 8 years, Moses as well as the other prophets all came to a level of maturity at 40 years old. It was 40 years, at 40 years old when Moses had his experience. Prophet Muhammad had his experience in the cave of Hijra at 40 years old. Jesus fasted for 40 days and 40 nights before he could make a convert unto himself. 40 is a real particular number. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad has been gone from us for 42 years. Minister Farrakhan has been standing in his name for 40 years. And now we're getting a final call of a press conference and a message. See, this is why I'm going to the Bible and the Quran. Because Moses is very clear of a figure that comes first before Jesus manifests himself. But all of it is dealing with a people that are in bondage, up under a pharaoh, up under a king. And after 40 years of tarrying in the wilderness and all the old ones die out, then the true one that represents Moses steps up. Now here you got this Moses, all praises due to Allah. Now look at the double reference of a prototype. Here's Moses after the term is finished. For the Muslims, Lost Found Muslim lesson number 1. Then you go to Lost Found Muslim lesson number 2. Is entitled what? The first term examination of Mr. Elijah Muhammad. The term examination. How many questions and answers are there, Muslims? 40. You don't think Master Fard Muhammad had that 40 questions because he knew his servant would be among us for 40 years? And who would do the second term? And how long would that go for? After 40 years in the second term, here's Minister Farrakhan stepping up. After the A and after the B, the A being Master Fard Muhammad, the God that gives formula, and the B being the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who breaks down the formula. Now see one in your midst. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. For those of us that study supreme wisdom, I want you to understand what's happening today. We ain't got to guess at this. That man Farrakhan. That's the one in our midst representing the A and the B. All praise to Allah. All praise to Allah. That was for the Muslims. But now look at this. It's not by coincidence that as I'm reading this and I'm looking, here's God saying, Moses saw a light at the top of the mountain. We don't know nothing in the history of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad where he went to the top of a mountain and there was a light up there. But here's a man, Farrakhan, that told the government and been telling us for the past 32 years that I had a vision, that I was taken to a mountain in Mexico where Christ is reserved and worshipped at.
Right, teach that teaching, brother.
And at the top of that mountain, a light appeared, and it was the wheel. And a voice called out to me to come aboard. And I had friends with me, and I was telling my friends to come with me. They say, no, not them, just you. And the friend that he had with him that he wanted to come with him was Jibreel. Now, what do you know about the angel Jibreel as it pertains to Prophet Muhammad? Peace and blessings be upon him. What do you know about the angel Jibreel as it pertains to the revelation of the Bible? Here's our man. Look, brothers and sisters. Man, look. All of us have different walks of life. I'm telling you, you can't soup me up. You can't run the okie doke on me. I'm not saying I can't be deceived, but I come from a certain way of life before this. I wouldn't be up here representing this if this was phony, if this was some crap. No, I'm walking with a man that walked with a man that met God. And he is not a liar. All praises due to Allah. Look. Islam is mathematics and mathematics is Islam. Is that right? So we don't believe in coincidence. We believe in cause and effect. So this is not a rah-rah message. Believers are getting excited because they know what I know. But I'm saying for those of you here for your first time and never heard this before, it's written in the scripture.
That's right.
He saw a light at the top of the mountain. And he went up to get something from that light that may either warm us, or what did he say? Let me put my glasses back on.
Right now.
He said, perceived a fire on the side of the mountain. He said to his family, wait, I see a fire. Maybe I will bring to you from it some news. Or a brand of fire so that you may warm yourself. What kind of news came from that light at the top of the mountain? He said the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told them, he used to say to them from time to time when they would be sitting together, that he saw a man walking up a mountain 40 miles high, carrying a heavy load, saying, when will my help come? So here's Moses saying to Allah in the Quran, and this is the same story as in the Bible, it's just a little different, but it's the same narrative. Same narrative.
Here we go.
He says, my Lord, I killed one of them, so I fear lest they slay me. And my brother, Aaron, he is more eloquent in speech than I. So send him with me as a helper to confirm me.
Right.
Surely I fear that they would reject me. And you have rejected the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That man worked among us for 40 years in the black community. After he was gone, rejected him. And the litmus test for us to know that he's been rejected, why you don't hear about Elijah Muhammad during Black History Month? Why you don't hear about Elijah Muhammad during Black History Month? There are no other leaders that you can think about or read about for the past 6,000 years that has done or even measured up to what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has done in the way of reform of a people that were turned inside out and upside down and made into animals by another people. Elijah Muhammad's program and what he brought to us has changed the lives and reformed and transformed hundreds of thousands of us. You can run down, name your leader. Go through the history. I guarantee you it doesn't measure up to what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did. But yet, he's being written out of history.
That's right. That's right.
I'm just using Black History Month as a litmus test.
Right.
They don't talk about him.
They don't.
Why? Like he never existed.
Yeah.
So if he didn't have a helper that would confirm him,
Come on. Wow.
what would we be doing right now? You know, what would we be doing right now?
My God.
So brothers and sisters, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is given a final call. And when a final call is given, the final is like forming or occurring at the end. It's the last. Constituting the end result of a succession or process. It's the ultimate call.
Thank you, brother.
But a call as is written is a cry out in a loud voice, a command, summon or invite to come, awaken or arouse from sleep, announce authoritatively, proclaim, order into effect, establish, summon by divine command, cause to come, bring into existence. The final call. And so this message that he's given to the government is also has a message for us. And that's why I was dealing with the aspect of the message that is part of the final call. Because if we don't understand our part in the warning or the mercy of God that was being given to us in that message, then we may find ourselves catching the chastisement of President Trump and all that he represents. Let's be clear. As many people that's on the bandwagon, if they dislike Trump, Trump just got into office. Everything that he's dealing with was waiting for him when he got into office. Is that right? He ain't create all that. All that stuff was waiting. How he's handling it is one thing, but it was all waiting for him when he got into office. And the President of the United States represents the United States Incorporated. He's just the CEO of a big corporation that has been giving us hell.
That's right.
So what he gets is not just for him, it's for every other president that was in that office and the incorporation that they represent.
Exactly.
Is that right? And this is why it has to be separation or death has to be one of those decisions, the ultimate decision that you and I will make. Now on the back page of the Final Call newspaper and what the Muslims want. And some would say the last page. Or the next to last page. Is that right, Brother Harold? It says in point number 5, we want freedom for all believers of Islam now held in federal prisons. We want freedom for all black men and women now under death sentence in innumerable prisons in the North as well as the South. Then it says, we want every black man and woman to have the freedom to accept or reject being separated from the slave master's children and establish a land of their own. We know that the above plan for the solution of the black and white conflict is the best and only answer to the problem between two people. So when we talk separation or death, you ain't gotta go. You want to stay with Becky and Joey and Frank and Bob and Lucy? You can stay. If it's no hard feelings with that, you can stay. But I don't know a people, and we've been here 462 years. I don't know no woman or man that's in their right mind that would be married, and after 462 days of the marriage, all you've been getting is slapped in your face, kicked in your behind, spit on, and all you've been giving back was good, but every time you give back good, you get an end result of evil. If you stay in that marriage, you a doggone fool. Is that right? Yeah. There would have to be a separation. And eventually a divorce. Is that right? And if you've been around that long and, you know, there's some benefits there, well, look, give me a going away present so I can do better by myself or bad by myself. Is that right? After 462 years, brothers and sisters, all we've caught from America is hell.
That's right.
And every rightful good thing that has been for us as a black community, as a dark people of the community, we had to fight for it. Why did we have to fight for everything of good? And for everything of good that we fought for and laws was made about, they found a way to change that law to make sure we don't benefit from it. People talk about voting and you can vote now. We've put black mayors and black governors in the office, and what happened? The IRS and the FBI found a way to tear them down. Why is it every time we get a step up, they find a way to take us down? Because they're your natural enemy. They do not want to see you rise, because your rise to them means that they have to fall. They don't want to share this, so we got to separate. We gotta separate.
That's right.
When you got a natural enemy, there's no compromise. There's no good in any agreement.
That's right.
You can't trust it. And you have to know the nature of your enemy.
That's right.
If you don't know the nature of your enemy, it's going to be hard if you don't know the nature of yourself and the nature of God, because then you don't know what's on the outside or the opposite of God's nature, which is devil. Is that right?
That's right.
So Minister Farrakhan and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, in my view, compares to Moses. We're fulfilling prophecy.
That's right.
You think it may have been Egypt and the children of Israel.
No.
First and foremost, 4,000 years ago, that area of Africa was not called Egypt. It wasn't even called Africa. So who changed that language?
Good question, brother.
And the New Testament, as I read to you weeks back in the book of John, chapter 8, verse 31 and 32, the Jews of that day already testified to Jesus. We never been in bondage. So who were the Jews that was in bondage, or the Israelites in bondage, supposedly, 4,000 years ago?
Was not.
Brothers and sisters, that's talking about us. Now check this out. In the Bible, God says to Moses,